Hello, hello. Kevin Paloe here from Yahoo Entertainment, and welcome to Build Series, J.D. Power and Associates' #1 rated talk show on the internet. Pushing Daisies, Halt and Catch Fire, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Hobbit Trilogy, The Twilight Saga. You probably know our next guest for any or all of these impressive credits. Now he shines as the innovative but ultimately tragic auto magnate John DeLorean in the fascinating new drama Driven, which tracks the shocking real-life tale of how the celebrated car exec ended up in a pretty seedy $24 million cocaine deal. Lee Pace will be with us in just a moment, but first, here's a look at Driven in theaters August 16th. That's tomorrow.
Damn it.
That's a nice looking car.
Yeah, thanks.
Back in the day, the girls loved it. Turn it over.
How the hell did you do that?
I designed it.
You're John DeLorean, aren't you? Shakespeare writes a play, he at least gets to put his name on it.
Oh, I might do that yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most successful auto executive in living memory, Mr. John DeLorean.
It is my great pleasure to present to you the DeLorean motor car.
It's like science fiction or something.
It's the future. I've hit a cash flow problem. I need to raise $30 million in the next 10 days. Can you help me, Jim?
One thing I've learned is that there is a deal to be made, always.
That husband of yours is quite the charmer.
Only until you get to know him. What is that? What is going on?
I work for the FBI.
You're in the FBI.
You know, like a spy.
You're a spy.
They would classify me as an informant.
You work with us on this, we bring him in, you go free.
John DeLorean, 30 million, cocaine.
Check. Hi, I was looking for John.
Who wants to know?
Check.
What's that?
Check. Please go check. Yeah, thank you.
You're moments away from being a very rich man.
You owe us. We don't owe you.
I will be remembered. My car will be remembered.
John is your friend.
Don't do this, John.
History is written by the victors.
John, what are you doing?
Drive the DeLorean and live the dream.
If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for?
Special agent in charge. I like that. And I really like your suit. You look great. You're the best dressed guy here. You know.
Guys, Lee Pace is here. Give it up.
Hey, Gavin. Thanks for having me.
How you doing? Thanks. Welcome to your very first Build Series. It's so exciting to have you here. So wait, who has the better early 80s fashion in this movie? You or Jason Sudeikis?
I mean, obviously Judy Greer.
Judy Greer.
Right? Judy Greer. Wait,
Yeah,
no, Jason's looks pretty cool in this too.
Yeah. I feel like there was a lot of spray tan going on with both of them.
Yeah. When we started, we all did it once, and we were like, we kind of met up later that night, and we were like, is this real?
DeLorean is definitely, though, he is more fashionable and like more chic, more like late 70s, early 80s chic. Sudeikis just wears an embarrassing amount of pastels in this movie.
Yeah, but one of the fun things I thought about playing the character is that it all takes place in his house in San Diego. So you don't see him bouncing all over the world, right. What his lifestyle was pretty cool and fast. But what you see is kind of him at home, with his kids by the pool, like in his downtime. So.
Yeah, well, congrats on this film. You are really great, and I enjoyed it a lot. Such a fascinating story. DeLorean is a guy, who I think exuded obviously confidence, maybe even arrogance at points. But I feel like you've really brought a lot of vulnerability to his character. Tell us a little bit about what first sort of piqued your interest in this role and this character specifically.
I didn't know a lot about him when I started it. What I knew was the car from Back to the Future.
Right.
And then I found out that he had designed the GTO and the Firebird, and he was moving up the ranks at General Motor Company, and he wanted to go out on his own, design his own car, and make his own motor company. And that's when he kind of ran into cash flow problems and stuff. And I guess I saw someone who was really putting himself out there on the line, and had no fear about that. Mm-hmm. No fear about if the risks aren't worth taking, no fear about if things don't go the way he had scripted them in his mind. Mm-hmm. And I saw a pretty cool person, Mm-hmm. So Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. I've done so much thinking about him. I guess I could talk about him.
Well, now that you've played him, and now that you've researched him and done so much thinking about him, how do you look back? I mean, he has a pretty complicated legacy. How do you look at it?
Well, you mean a lot of times people will tell you about the scandal that brought down the company. So when he had a cash flow problem, he ended up who knows what exactly happened?
Yes,
but
this film takes
I wasn't there. Yeah,
shot at explaining. Exactly
yeah, well, he was involved in a cocaine deal. He was hoping to get $30 million to bail out his automobile company, which you've got to have a few screws loose to find yourself in that kind of situation. But he got off. He didn't get brought down for it. So it's unclear whether or not that happened because, the FBI had entrapped him or if he had, pursued the deal. And who knows? Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, it makes for a great story.
What I think is interesting about him is that he was just trying to plug the leaks and keep the car in production because he had at the factory in Belfast, there was 2,000 workers who were depending on those jobs. He had it was a bigger thing that he was taking responsibility for. I like people like that. I like people who dream big and fly a little close to the sun and kind of dust themselves off after they fall to earth and kind of keep going. A fun story about him. He after the scandal, he redesigned himself as a luxury watch designer, and he had a bunch of pre-orders and investors into this whole luxury watch company, and he never manufactured a single watch.
Wow. Did he have a DeLorean of
it was
watches?
The DeLorean, a luxury watch.
Yeah. It had little wings that popped out of the side of it. Was there an innovative design?
I don't know. I never got a watch.
You never
got the watch.
Did you get a DeLorean?
No, I didn't get a DeLorean. Actually, when we closed the Venice Film Festival last year with the movie, and we found a car in Italy, a DeLorean, that we wanted to drive onto the red carpet, and it wouldn't start. So we ended up having to push it on and and pose in front of it.
As you mentioned earlier, most people know this car from Back to the Future. I mean, it's one of the most iconic movie cars of all time. It's also, of course, a time machine. Did you use this? I mean, it doesn't relate to the movie's plot at all. But did you use this as sort of an excuse to revisit those movies at all?
I mean, who doesn't need an excuse to watch Back to the Future again? They're such great movies. The research was really interesting. I mean, it was all interesting about this car, and the reason, certain things about the design of the car that, I mean, I just think look cool, were functional. The reason it was made out of stainless steel is so that it wouldn't rust. So many cars, especially up here in the Northeast, the rust will kill them. The gull wing doors like that, they were designed that way so that you could park them anywhere. So you didn't have to, wouldn't open your car door and smash into another car. Yeah. So there was a real, interesting thought process behind all of these different design details.
If only he had designed an actual time machine. Those would have sold. I don't think he would have had to enter the cocaine business.
I know, right?
Had he actually come up with that.
God, where would we go with the time machine?
Where would you go? Where would you go with the time machine?
Oh, I don't know. I'm happy where I am. I'd probably go into the future. I'd be too curious not to.
Right, of course. Yeah, of course.
Where would you go?
I would want to know. Yeah, I would want to know what the future had in store. Are we going to still be around?
Yeah, I might go.
Not to get too dark.
Yeah, I might go back to junior high school
we need to warn people
and really, speak up where I was probably too shy to, and let people know how I felt about things.
Well, the film is, as we see at the top of the film, inspired by true events. Obviously, like any film inspired by true events, you have to take some creative license. You have to take some liberties with it. But what is something that is so crazy that happens in this film that people are going to think you guys made up, but it was based on pure fact?
It's the facts that are crazy on this story, to be honest. The facts are what's really insane. But it's all told through the point of view of Jim Hoffman, who's DeLorean's neighbor.
Yeah, played by Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, and so it's kind of and he's a liar. Mm-hmm. He's a liar and a con man. So you can't really believe anything he says. And it gave me a certain kind of freedom with playing the character because I didn't feel bound to some portrayal of him that was textbook in any way. I felt like I had one layer of remove with which to interpret the character and just kind of take it easy and have fun with him, you know?
Yeah, Hoffman is he's the unreliable narrator, essentially, of this story. Great performance by Jason Sudeikis. I mean, this is a guy who I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's capable of dramatically, and really, really shows it off in this film. I mean, he's also, his character's also sort of a doofus, I think we can say, which, so he gets plenty of opportunities to land some laughs. But tell us about your impression of him as a
man. I had the best time working with Jason on this movie. It's so much fun doing that scene work with him and with Judy and Corey. It was a little bit about shooting this movie. We started shooting right before Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So we shut down and evacuated, and I thought the movie we weren't going to be able to finish it. But the Puerto Rican crew wanted to keep going. We wanted to get down there to, keep everyone back together and finish what we started. And so when it came down to doing the scene work and acting with Jason on set, there was nothing hard about it. Like, that was a breeze. It was fun to make everyone laugh when it's hard to get to set. It's hard to get enough fresh water for everyone to be able to bring home, to their families and stuff. So it's like there were real challenges with that movie. Nothing about it. The scene work was difficult. Like, it was with Nick Hamm, our director. We had nothing but fun working on it, and I think it added a kind of a cool point of view to the movie because. It's not the end of the world. It's a car company. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
yeah. Do you have your own theories about sort of DeLorean's role in that whole scandal?
Well, I certainly like to think about the what ifs. Like, what if he had managed to keep that company going, and if an innovator of his caliber was able to keep cars on the road and keep innovating and creating cool stuff. That's what I would be interested in seeing.
Yeah.
Who knows whatever happens. The one thing I learned about researching this one is that everyone's got a different story about DeLorean and who he was and what he was about. Everyone's got a different story. And that's a fun character to play.
Yeah.
Like a character that you can just really do anything with. Some people found him inspiring. Some people thought he was a cheat.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
It's like
kind of like a Hearst type almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a powerful person.
Yeah.
So he's going to rub some people the wrong way. Some people are going to be inspired by him. You can't make everyone happy.
Yeah. This is actually the second John DeLorean film we've seen out this year. There was one called Framing John DeLorean that I think premiered at Tribeca in April with Alec Baldwin playing the role. Did you check it out? Were you
No,
curious?
I haven't seen it. I mean, I hope I'll see it at some point. Did you see it?
I have not. No.
Did anyone else see it?
Did anyone see it? No. We'll just say Driven is better.
Okay.
Yeah. We all agree.
But I'd be curious to see what their point of view about it is, or if their research was, illuminates certain things that ours doesn't.
I watched the trailer, and it is interesting because it plays up the fact that there has never been a movie made about John DeLorean.
Yeah.
Which I found interesting because you guys actually premiered in September of last year at the Toronto Film Festival. So you actually played before that.
We
so
did
I'm like,
it.
there actually was a film, guys.
There was a film.
There is a film. Were there any dance-offs on the set of this film?
No, we didn't get around to it. Well, let me think.
Do you guys know
not with me.
Lee likes to start a
how
good
did I
dance
end
party
up
on
with this
set?
reputation?
Internet
pretty-
videos. I mean, well, first off, actually,
I engage in dance off, so boy, they really come back to bite you, don't they? Not on this one. I think there's a pretty epic dance between Judy and Jason. We can call that a dance off.
Yes, there is. Yes, but are you retired from starting dance offs on set?
No, it's not something you can retire from.
Yeah.
I think it's always an opportunity. But you gotta, if you do too many of them, then people see them coming.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
So you
don't want to do them on every movie.
No,
if you have no idea what we're talking about, there's internet
be
footage,
that
there's
guy.
behind the scenes
Already I'm
footage.
close.
Twilight, Guardians of the Galaxy. Who won that dance off between you and Chris Pratt?
Oh, Chris is.
Great, you think?
yeah,
Oh,
he's a
you're
hell
gonna
of
give
an
it. You're
answer.
gonna give it to Chris.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He won that.
Okay.
Did you see the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also saw the behind the scenes footage.
Oh right. No, he won.
Yeah. Well, we gotta talk a little Marvel here. You are, of course, also known as Ronan the Accuser in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
I played him in Guardians, Captain Marvel. What is your relationship with that world and those fans? Do you get a lot of Marvel fans?
I
you?
love the Marvel fans. I have such a good time playing that role, and a big part of it is because the fans are so cool, and the fans are so knowledgeable about the stories. About the work we do, and there are some fans who I feel like understand Ronan better than I do. I'm certain that they do. But it's that's really, I would say, my favorite thing about doing the movies is getting to know the fans and stuff who like them, because it brings together such a cool, eclectic group of people. You know?
Have you had any like crazy fan encounters?
Not as crazy as I would like.
You would like the fans to be a little crazy.
Yes, it's good for story. It's good for moments like this when you need to come up with a good story.
Great point.
No, everyone's pretty cool and chill, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they have really nothing more to say than I like the movie. And want to talk about that. So yeah, no. Everyone's
Tell us
cool.
about returning to Ronan and Captain Marvel. That was somewhat unexpected.
Yeah, it was for me too. And they called me and asked me to come do it. I was like, yeah, I would love to. It's why not? I mean, I have to tell you, it's so crazy playing that character, because most of the time when I'm shooting, I'm all by myself on the set with like a big blue or green screen around me, and I'm acting to like little marks of tape. So I'll say all my lines and look at the different tape, and I'm, blue and covered in contacts and everything. So it's a completely disorienting experience. But then I get the pleasure of like watching the movie with everyone else and being like, oh,
That's what I'm doing.
I'm captaining a massive spaceship, trying to end Earth. Oh, okay.
It's full of delights and surprises.
Yeah, it's like I get to watch as an audience, and
yeah. Well, Ronan was referenced in Endgame. He doesn't show up. But was that ever a discussion with Marvel? Did you know at any point if you were or weren't going to be in that movie?
No, I mean, I would have loved to have done it, but it's no, I was happy to see that referenced in it. The character is still people know who he is.
Do you know what his next film is going to be?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I don't know. No. I was very curious.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why don't know?
What's next on tap for you?
I don't have anything right now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of up at my farm, dealing with late summer stuff up there. It's a lot going on up there this time of year, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. So you're into farming.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. This is what you do when you're not making movies.
Yeah.
Like you're in the dirt. You're toiling in the dirt, in the soil.
Well, yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah. You're a green thumb.
Yeah. I find all that stuff really interesting. So I'm not going to bore you with the 4 minutes we have left. I'm seeing on the thing with all of my projects, but I'm real busy up there. It's nice to get cleaned up and come into New York and give interviews about movies, but most of my week is I'm pretty filthy.
Yeah. And you're based in New York and
it's upstate.
Yeah. But are you based in New York City?
No, I'm up there.
Oh, that's
where
you actually live.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't look after all that stuff if you don't live there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some incredible neighbors who help me look after the animals when I'm not around, but no, I've got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah. Animals?
Yeah.
How many?
Not big animals. I've got chickens and the dog and the cat. I'd like some big animals, but I don't have any fences. So it's not a good idea to get big animals if you don't have a fence to put them in.
Right.
Because already they'll get out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we are running out of time, so we got to open this up to some audience Q&A as well. We still have the time. We've got a few. Who's first? Hi.
Hi. So I was wondering how this role is different from roles that you've played in the past.
Well, I mean, in ways that it's the same, is that I'm wearing another wig. Yeah, how is he different? It's a white wig. Well, I guess it was kind of white in The Hobbit. But I am playing an older guy. He's a real person, which I've played that before. I'm sorry, I'm doing a terrible job of answering your question.
I mean,
All
that
I can
was like
think
3 or 4
about
things.
Yeah, but they're only kind of sort of different. There's no big... I mean, it's not an alien. Ronan was an alien. And not an elf or a vampire. So, yeah, this is the most unique thing I've ever done.
Who's next? Hi.
Hey. So after being in Angels in America last summer, how does kind of being in like this massive play compare to doing movies and TV? And do you want to continue doing theater?
I mean, I will always do theater. That's what I started doing here in the city. So I love being on stage. I had a great director I worked with said that being on stage is an actor's revenge because there's no editor, there's no one else between you and the audience doing your performance. And there's such kind of ownership and freedom to that. So I can't wait to get back on stage. Being a part of Angels in America was one of the... it was such a privilege and such an extraordinarily difficult and powerful thing to be a part of. So, it was really, it was to walk in that character's shoes, on repeat for months and months, took its toll. I can't say that it didn't. But I learned about myself. I learned about acting on stage. In a way that I really value, Did you see it? Did you really? Oh, wow, thank you. So did you. I remember. And you. You saw it how many times? Oh, my God.
10 times?
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Well, then you probably know it as well as I do.
All right, we have one more question.
Hi, Lee.
Hi.
Seeing as we're in this era of reboots, do you think Pushing Daisies will ever make a comeback? And is that something you would be open to?
I love this question. Yeah, I would absolutely do it. What does a reboot mean? What does that mean? Because I wouldn't want anything to change about it. I want that exact same cast because working with those people was... I think about The Pie Hole and being with Shai McBride, Anna Friel, and Kristen Chenoweth, and it was just such a dream, one of those moments that I look back on, and I wish I'd have pinched myself more when I was in it. So, let's do it. Let's get the reboot together. All right. Come on. All right, let's do it.
You heard it here.
Okay.
All right. Lee, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, guys. Check out Driven in theaters tomorrow, August 16th. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you very much.